Alrighty, twilight at the MCG and Melbourne did their thing, as they tend to do.
They were so hungry, TJ. I want to look at some of the numbers in the first quarter. This game was over, 5 minutes into this game of football. And look at the differential inside 50s, plus 15. Hawthorn's ball use was as bad as you're going to see. They kicked it at 47% in the first half and 45% in the first quarter there. But the thing that strikes me with Melbourne is how hungry they are when the opposition have the ball. They got after Hawthorn, and clearly the numbers there show that the Hawks couldn't cope. It's good that they got back into the game after half-time, but Melbourne are a force to be reckoned with.
And speaking of the Hawks, they're one of three just ultimately dreadful teams playing football in 2023. They might be the best of the three we refer to, North Melbourne and West Coast being the other two. They're down into the low 60% now with these records. North Melbourne won its first two games, has now lost 7. And as you said, Lloydie, Essendon has got the benefit of playing West Coast and North Melbourne twice in the course of this season. They come in consecutive weeks in those rounds, and you'd think that that's just a guaranteed 16 premiership points on this year, but it is historically as bad as it's been.
It's
TJ.
a blight on the season, isn't it? It threatens to derail the season somewhat because you've got 3 out of the 9 games when they don't play each other effectively ruined.
How does it derail the season, though? How does it derail the season?
It's a badly weighted draw.
3 of 9, Brownie, games.
That's
not
the way the game
watching.
is. We're always going to have sides that are down the bottom that are easy to beat. We're going to have sides up the top. It's just the nature of the game.
They're unwatchable, Brownie. You cannot watch North Melbourne. You cannot watch West Coast.
To Brownie's point, though, North won, 2 last year?
2 last year.
West Coast won 2 last year. So isn't it the same every year?
But when does it change?
Well, it wasn't that long ago that Melbourne were down the bottom. Melbourne were the easy beats. All of a sudden they're up the top. It happens every year. It's no surprise.
I hate seeing it too, but it's the same every year.
I'm not sure it's the...
Not with 3 this bad. Not with 3 this bad, yeah.
All right, that's coming up a little later on. We'll discuss that possibly in agenda. I'm a little concerned as we head towards what caught my eye. You've got props today, haven't you?
Yeah, I'm hidden under my news AJ, so no one's saying that.
There's small props.
I know, you got props.
But it's fair to say you're safe, and you're safe.
Just for the benefit of our floor manager, it's probably Damo. Anyway, now, can we talk about North Melbourne in detail, apropos their match against Port Adelaide?
Port Adelaide are in good form, TJ, but North Melbourne have lost 7 in a row. And I agree with what Kane said for the last 3 weeks is that you just don't expect an Alistair Clarkson side to be non-competitive. You expect them to be organised and crack in, yes, not sustain it for a long period, but this is just awful basic skill errors that you just do not expect.
Well, you say not expect, but that is what we have now been dished up, Lloydie, for 7 weeks in a row. No. This is no better than the David Noble days. And that may be a harsh thing to say because people may refer to this being an all-time great coach, and yes, he is. But to this early stage, albeit very, very early stage, there's no signs of improvement.
There's no way he can be coaching at his best with everything that's going on, is there? And we saw that sort of...
the Brisbane Lions are going okay.
Yeah, well, they are, but they've got a lot more talent at their disposal. Clearly, the effect that this is having, and you can understand it, but for Alistair Clarkson to speak like he did during the week, I think, Caroline Wilson said he's coaching with one hand behind his back. He is. They're not getting the best version through no fault of their own, North, but they've been caught up in this situation, and the results are,
But you wonder if it would have been any different.
Is their list so bad? But the lack of effort that they're giving, clearly the talent isn't there. You would have thought with Clarkson coaching this team there would have been effort. There is none.
Jason Horne-Francis was probably having a sleepless week leading into this match, but he wasn't targeted.
They let him off, didn't they?
Yeah.
They're a lot tougher on social media than they were on game day, the North Melbourne fans. And, and I'm talking about the fans and the cheer squad and even the
players, Kane. The players and the way they set up. It was disappointing that they didn't go after him in some way. They had a competitive edge to go after him and they could get themselves in the game, get Port Adelaide off their game, but they elected not to do it. Whether that was a directive from the coach or the club, I'm not sure after the week that was had with Sydney and Collingwood, but they needed to be more competitive against Jason Horne-Francis.
Feeling pretty good about himself and pretty happy that he got out, I reckon.
But could have been a situation also, if they had have done it from the get-go, then he knew what to expect, and he's gone through the whole game thinking, when's it coming? I mean, that in itself could put you off.
I think when you're so low as a club, there's so many, 22 North players are fighting for survival, fighting for their own form, fighting for any confidence and belief. That's what you serve up, I think. When you're a top 2 or 3 side or a 4 side, you go and hunt. Whereas that's just symbolic of where North are at. Yeah,
there was a bit of argy-bargy in the game. It came with Aidan Corr coming up against Ollie Lord. And while you may say there's not a lot in that, it's the type of act now that the Match Review Office does crack down on. And I'd be surprised, TJ, if Aidan Corr is available to play on the back of that incident with Ollie Lord, and they've also got another
bit of mayo on it, didn't he, Lord?
Yeah, but look, again, just don't do it. And that's what the Match Review Office is trying to send by way of a message on those moments. And injuries to come out of the game for North Melbourne to make matters already worse. Marnie, Luke Davies-Uniacke, Tucker and Perez all suffering blows that will probably be keeping them out for a week at least.